Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're setting sail to the world of Vikings, and this deep dive is crafted just for you. And hey, while you're learning about history, you'll also be leveling up your English skills.
Oh, excellent.
As you improve your English with this podcast, we'll also dive into exciting topics that will help you level up your language skills in a fun and interactive way.
Yeah, that's great.
So let's dive in. First things first, where did these Vikings come from?
The Vikings originated from Scandinavia, which encompasses the countries we know today as Norway, Sweden, and Denmark.
Okay.
It's a region characterized by rugged landscapes, fjords, and a long coastline.
Okay, so picture Scandinavia. And now imagine setting sail from there to dominate the world's oceans for nearly 3 centuries, from roughly 793 to 1066 AD.
Wow.
That's exactly what the Vikings did.
Their impact was far-reaching, and it all began with a bang. Literally.
You're talking about the raid on Lindisfarne, right?
That's right.
That event is basically what launched the Viking Age.
Uh-huh.
It must have been terrifying for the monks living on that peaceful island off the coast of England.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine a quiet monastery suddenly overrun by Viking longships. Monks were killed, churches plundered, and treasures that had been accumulated for centuries were stolen.
Oh, my goodness.
News of this raid spread like wildfire across Europe, creating a sense of dread and fear of these fierce newcomers.
It's easy to see why that event would mark the beginning of an era, but I have to ask, why raid monasteries in the first place? Were they just hungry for loot?
Well, there's more to it than that. Monasteries, while spiritually rich, were often poorly defended and filled with valuable items. Think gold, silver, religious artifacts, easy pickings for skilled raiders.
So they were strategically targeting places that offered the most reward with the least resistance. But were there other reasons behind those raids?
Overpopulation in Scandinavia was a likely factor. They needed more land and resources to support their growing population.
Sure.
Raiding and plundering offered a way to acquire those resources quickly.
Plus, their shipbuilding technology gave them a serious edge.
Yes.
Those longships were incredibly fast and maneuverable, perfect for hit-and-run raids along coastlines.
Exactly. Those ships allowed them to travel vast distances, reaching England, France, even parts of Russia.
Wow.
And let's not forget the cultural element. Viking society glorified strength and valor in battle raiding, was seen as a way to prove oneself, gain honor, and earn riches.
It's almost like raiding was woven into their social fabric, a combination of necessity, opportunity, and cultural values.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about mindless violence.
You're right. There was a calculated strategy behind it. They weren't just random acts of brutality.
Oh, wow.
Take their forays into England, for example. They didn't just raid, they conquered.
You're talking about the Danelaw, right?
That's it.
That part of England essentially became Viking territory.
Precisely by 865 AD,
All right.
Viking armies were launching full-scale invasions, eventually establishing the Danelaw, a region where Viking law and customs held sway. This had a profound impact on English society and culture. It's a fascinating example of how Viking raids could lead to long-term territorial control and cultural influence.
It's a far cry from the image of Vikings as simply smash-and-grab raiders. Speaking of Viking influence, didn't they even lay siege to Paris? Imagine those longships sailing up the Seine River.
They did in 885 AD. The Parisians, understandably terrified, decided negotiation was a better strategy than open warfare. They paid the Vikings a hefty sum of silver to leave the city in peace.
Wow, talk about a lucrative raiding strategy. But they weren't always about force. They were also incredibly skilled explorers and traders, weren't they?
Absolutely. Their explorations extended far beyond the well-known raids. They ventured eastward into what is now Russia. Establishing trading posts and cities along rivers, they founded major trading centers like Kiev and Novgorod, which played a significant role in the early development of Russia.
It's mind-blowing to think that Vikings known for their raids were also instrumental in the formation of a nation like Russia. And the name Russia itself is thought to have roots in the Viking presence there.
That's right. The Viking rulers of those early cities were known as the Rus, which is believed to be where the name Russia originates. Their voyages weren't just about conquest.
Right.
They were also about establishing trade routes, seeking new opportunities, and connecting different parts of the world.
They really got around. So Vikings weren't afraid of a little ice and snow, were they?
Not at all. In fact, they embraced it around the 870s. They discovered and settled Iceland, a land known for its volcanoes and glaciers.
Wow.
Then, driven by a desire for even more land and resources, a Viking named Eric the Red sailed even further west, discovering Greenland in 985 AD.
Eric the Red. What a name. And Greenland, wow, that's pretty far north.
Greenland was harsh, but the Vikings established settlements there surviving for several centuries. It's a testament to their resilience and adaptability.
Okay, but this is where it gets really interesting. You're about to tell me that the Vikings actually made it to North America, right?
You got it around the year 1000 AD. Leif Erikson, Eric the Red's son, sailed westward from Greenland, eventually reaching a land he called Vinland.
Oh, okay.
We know this area today as part of Canada.
So the Vikings were the first Europeans to set foot in North America, beating Columbus by about 500 years. That's incredible. Do we have any proof of this?
We absolutely do. Archaeological evidence has been found at Lanzo Metters in Newfoundland, confirming the presence of a Viking settlement. It's a fascinating site that offers a glimpse into their presence in North America.
This completely changes our understanding of early exploration, doesn't it?
Hmm.
It's amazing to think that these intrepid Vikings were sailing across the Atlantic long before anyone else.
It really does challenge the traditional narratives, doesn't it? And it highlights just how skilled and adventurous the Vikings truly were.
I'm sure our listeners wondering, did the Vikings just pack up and go home after this amazing discovery?
Well, it seems they didn't establish permanent settlements in Vinland, at least not that we know of. Their stay was likely temporary, possibly due to conflicts with the native people they encountered.
That makes sense. Encountering new cultures and navigating those interactions must have been challenging. But even a temporary presence in North America is a remarkable feat. It really paints a picture of the Vikings as pioneers, pushing the boundaries of the known world.
Exactly. Their voyages of exploration are a testament to their seafaring skills, their courage, and their insatiable curiosity about the world beyond their shores.
So we've talked about raids, invasions, and incredible journeys of exploration, but I think it's time to address the elephant, or should I say, the mythical creature in the room, those horned helmets. Did Vikings really wear them?
That's one of the most persistent myths about Vikings, and it's simply not true. No archaeological evidence supports the existence of horned helmets in the Viking Age.
So where did this idea come from? I mean, it's such a strong visual.
The image of the Viking warrior with a horned helmet likely originated in 19th century artistic representations, particularly in operas.
Oh, okay.
Those costumes were designed for dramatic effect, not historical accuracy.
It's fascinating how a fictional portrayal can become so deeply ingrained in popular culture.
Yeah,
But hey, at least it makes for some cool imagery, right?
it certainly does. But it's important to separate myth from reality. The Vikings were far more complex and nuanced than the stereotypical image of a horned helmet-wearing barbarian.
Okay, so no horns, got it. But another question comes to mind. Were they all really just bloodthirsty, ruthless killers? Our sources suggest otherwise, don't they?
Absolutely. While they were fierce warriors, Viking society was much more diverse than that.
Okay.
Many were farmers, fishermen, traders, skilled craftsmen, and even poets. They had families, communities, and a rich culture steeped in tradition and mythology.
Speaking of mythology, their belief system was incredibly intricate, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. They had a pantheon of gods and goddesses, each with their own unique powers and personalities.
Right.
Odin, the All-Father Thor, the god of thunder Loki, the trickster. Their myths and legends are filled with adventure, heroism, and a deep connection to nature.
And these stories weren't just for entertainment. They shaped their values, their understanding of the world, and even their social structure. It's amazing how mythology can have such a profound impact on a culture.
It's a reminder that behind the image of the warrior, there's a whole world of beliefs, stories, and cultural practices that shaped who they were.
I have a feeling there's a lot more to unpack here, but before we go any deeper, I think it's time for a quick challenge for our listener.
Oh, good.
Think about what we've covered so far. Which Viking accomplishment, from dominating the seas to reaching North America, surprises you the most? Let us know in the comments.
Great question. It's incredible how these seafaring warriors left their mark on such a vast geographical area, but their influence goes beyond physical boundaries. It even extends to the language we speak today.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I bet most people wouldn't guess that some of the words we use every day have Viking origins. It's like a little linguistic time capsule from the past.
It really is. Words like berserk, skull knife, and even window all have roots in Old Norse. Yeah. The language spoken by the Vikings.
Yes.
It's a testament to their interactions and cultural exchange with the Anglo-Saxons in England.
Absolutely.
It's mind-blowing to think how languages evolve and adapt over time,
Yeah.
absorbing influences from different cultures. Speaking of cultural influences, I think we need to delve deeper into Viking society. It wasn't just about raiding and exploring, was it?
Not at all. They had a complex social structure, a
Yeah.
rich belief system, and a strong sense of community.
Okay.
Their mythology, as we touched upon earlier, played a central role in their lives.
Okay, paint a picture for me. What was it like to live in a Viking community? What did they believe? What were their values?
Imagine a society deeply connected to nature with a strong belief in fate and the power of the gods.
Okay.
They valued courage, strength, loyalty, and honor. Their myths and legends weren't just stories, they were a way of life, a way of understanding the world around them and their place within it.
And what about the afterlife? Didn't they believe in a warrior's paradise?
They did. Valhalla, a grand hall ruled by the god Odin, was believed to be the ultimate destination for warriors who died bravely in battle. It was a place of feasting, fighting, and celebration where the bravest souls could continue their heroic deeds alongside legendary heroes.
Wow, so dying in battle wasn't necessarily a bad thing in Viking culture. It was almost a glorious end.
In a sense, yes, it reflected their warrior ethos and their belief in a heroic afterlife, but not everyone went to Valhalla. Those who died of old age or sickness were believed to go to Helheim, a realm ruled by the goddess Hel. It wasn't necessarily a place of punishment, but more of a shadowy underworld.
So their beliefs about the actual life were quite different from those of other religions at the time. There wasn't a heaven and hell dichotomy. It was a more nuanced view.
Exactly, and their mythology wasn't just about death and the afterlife. It also provided explanations for natural phenomena, human emotions, and the cycles of life.
Yeah.
Their stories were passed down orally through generations, shaping their values, their art, and even their legal system.
Okay, so we have warriors, farmers, fishermen, and storytellers. But what about Viking women? What was their role in this society?
Viking women, unlike women in many other cultures of the time, enjoyed a greater degree of freedom and autonomy.
Oh, wow.
They could own property, inherit wealth, and even manage businesses.
So they weren't just confined to the home. They had agency and could participate in society in meaningful ways.
Absolutely, some Viking women even took up arms and fought alongside men.
Really?
These shield maidens, as they were known, were fierce warriors who challenged traditional gender roles. Their stories are a testament to the strength and resilience of Viking women.
That's fascinating. It challenges the stereotypical image of women being completely subservient in ancient societies, it seems. Viking society, while patriarchal, also allowed for a degree of female agency that was unusual for the time.
Exactly. It adds another layer of complexity to our understanding of Viking culture.
Yeah.
They weren't a
It's amazing how those long ships enabled them to travel such vast distances, explore new lands, and connect different cultures through trade.
Speaking of trade, the Vikings established extensive trade networks that spanned from the Caspian Sea in the east to North America in the west. They traded goods such as furs, timber, amber slaves, silver, and even exotic spices.
Exotic spices. Now, that's something I wouldn't have expected. It really paints a picture of their far-reaching influence and their ability to connect different parts of the world through commerce.
Their trade routes played a significant role in shaping the economic and cultural landscape of medieval Europe.
I see.
They weren't just raiders, they were merchants, diplomats, and cultural ambassadors, facilitating the exchange of goods, ideas, and even languages.
It's remarkable how they adapted to different environments and cultures, whether they were raiding a monastery, trading in a bustling marketplace, or establishing settlements in Iceland or Greenland.
Their adaptability was truly remarkable. They were able to thrive in a variety of climates and navigate complex social and political landscapes. It speaks to their resilience, their ingenuity, and their willingness to embrace new challenges.
They were a force to be reckoned with, weren't they?
Indeed, but as with all empires and eras, the Viking Age eventually came to an end.
So what happened? Did they just fade away?
Several factors contributed to their decline. The year 1066 AD marks a turning point. The Battle of Stamford Bridge saw the Viking king Harald Hardrada defeated by King Harold of England, effectively ending their ambitions in England.
It's interesting how one battle can have such a significant impact on the course of history.
It certainly can, and around the same time, Christianity began to spread throughout Scandinavia,
Okay.
gradually replacing the Old Norse traditions. This shift in religious beliefs played a role in the decline of Viking raids as they integrated into Christian Europe.
So the Vikings, once feared as pagan raiders, eventually embraced Christianity and became part of the very society they had challenged. It's a fascinating transformation.
It speaks to the dynamic nature of history and how cultures evolve over time. The Viking legacy, however, continues to resonate even today.
Speaking of legacy, it's incredible to think how much the Vikings shaped the world we live in. Their genetic footprint can be found in millions of people across Europe and North America, Their influence on language, art, culture, and even place names is undeniable.
Absolutely. They were more than just warriors and raiders. They were explorers, traders, settlers, storytellers, and artisans. Their impact is woven into the fabric of our history and continues to capture our imagination today.
It's like their stories are etched into our collective memory, inspiring books, movies, TV shows, and even video games. The fascination with Vikings doesn't seem to fade.
It's a testament to their enduring appeal, isn't it? Their voyages of exploration, their tales of courage and adventure, and their unique cultural contributions continue to intrigue and inspire us centuries later.
And as we continue to explore and learn about the Vikings, we uncover new layers of their story, challenging our perceptions and deepening our appreciation for their complexities. It's a journey of discovery that never truly ends.
And speaking of journeys of discovery, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into fascinating topics just like this one. We'll be back soon with another episode ready to explore new worlds and uncover hidden knowledge together.
It's amazing to think about how much we've uncovered about the Vikings, from their daring raids to their incredible voyages of exploration. But I have a feeling there are still a few more mysteries to unravel.
Oh, there are always more layers to uncover when it comes to history. There's a reason the Vikings continue to captivate our imaginations.
You know, we talked about those iconic horn helmets and how they were more myth than reality, but it makes me wonder, what did Viking warriors actually wear into battle?
Well, practicality was key for Viking warriors. They typically wore simple helmets made of iron or leather. If they wore helmets at all, some helmets might have had a nose guard or cheek plates for added protection, but no horns.
Okay, so no elaborate headgear. But I'm curious, why do you think the myth of the horn helmets persists so strongly?
It's probably a combination of factors, as we mentioned earlier. Those dramatic 19th century operas played a role in popularizing the image of Viking warrior with horns sprouting from his helmet. Just looks more imposing on stage, wouldn't you say?
It definitely adds to the visual drama, and once that image takes hold in popular culture, it can be hard to shake, even if it's not historically accurate.
Exactly. Plus, the idea of fierce Viking warriors with horns just adds to their mystique and their fearsome reputation. It plays into the stereotype.
But as we've learned, the Vikings were far more than just fierce warriors. They were explorers, traders, settlers, poets, artisans, a complex and fascinating people who left a lasting impact on the world. It's a good reminder that stereotypes rarely capture the full picture.
It's so important to look beyond those stereotypes and delve deeper into the nuances of history. Every culture has its complexities, its heroes and its villains, its triumphs and its tragedies.
And that's what makes history so captivating, right? It's the constant process of uncovering those complexities, challenging our assumptions, and broadening our understanding of the world and the people who have shaped it. It's about recognizing that the past is never truly black and white. It's full of shades of gray.
Well said. And as we conclude our deep dive into the world of the Vikings, I want to leave our listener with a challenge.
Ooh, I love a good challenge. What is it?
The next time you encounter a stereotype, whether it's about a culture, a historical figure, or even a group of people in your own community, take a moment to pause and consider the nuances, challenge your own assumptions, and seek out a deeper understanding. Don't let stereotypes limit your perspective.
That's a fantastic challenge. We can all benefit from questioning our assumptions and seeking out more nuanced understanding of the world around us.
Absolutely. Learning is a lifelong journey, and there's always more to discover, more perspectives to consider, and more stories to be told.
So true. And who knows, maybe our listener will be inspired to delve even deeper into the world of the Vikings. There's still so much to learn and explore.
Yeah, I have no doubt they will.
And if you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of the Vikings, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting explorations. We'll be back soon with another episode ready to uncover more hidden knowledge together. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those minds open to new possibilities.